Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Day 2 of me posting a video every day until I find myself a job. Alright, well, let's get right down to it. As you can see by the title of the video, we're going to be talking about that. Yes, stop killing games. And I want to get this out of the way. I do apologize if you hear something in the background. I will do my best to get the sound away. It's my fan. I'm not going to burn up in this house. That I will apologize for. And to get this out of the way, after you've watched the video, if you like what you saw, please like, dislike if you dislike, and subscribe if you want to see more of this stuff. It'll help me, show me that you guys are interested in these kinds of videos, and it's really easy. You can always change your mind later on. Thank you very much. So, stop killing games. You probably heard the initiative if you are a gamer and you're terminally online like me. I want to talk about it because I do want to spread the awareness of it, but I also want to go over what Stop Killing Games actually is. I don't want to just sit here and spout a lot of, oh, he said this, and they said that, and he's definitely wrong. How about we figure out what it is, what the initiative is together? Well, I already know what it is, but let's read the initiative together. Because I know that a bunch of YouTubers, gamers, and influencers have talked about Stop Killing Games, and I also know that there is one particular person who's apparently harmed the initiative in a way because of, I guess in his mind, it's not actually going to help anybody. There's a lot of misunderstandings that I think he's looking at here, and you guys probably know who I'm talking about, Thor from Pirate Software. I don't hate the guy. I'm not going to try to ridicule him. I honestly want to understand what he's trying to say. I want to see what his logic is when we look at the document together. And I mean, I'm on the side of, the person who actually started all of this. I'm on his side. Stop Killing Games is supposed to be an initiative of, well, preserving video games. Like, for example, I could not in any way play Croc, right? That's an old game, and I know a lot of you people out there don't know what a Croc is. You know what a crocodile is, but you don't know what a Croc is, and let me explain. Croc is a video game that was keyword was lost media. The only way you could play the game is if you found it online somewhere on an archive website, which gave you the PC build of Croc 1. Now, Croc 2, you're going to have to go out and do some things in order to play that game using emulators, right? Now, I'm not afraid to say emulator, but how you obtain the game is all up to you. But for Croc, for instance, that was lost media. The reason why it was lost media is because now the game is back. I had gone over that game. I played it in my own time. I didn't record much of it. I streamed a little bit of that game. And with the new controls that are out and how fun the game looked from back in the past, I wanted to see if it was still fun today, because the same people, Argonaut, who made the game before, remade the game, I should say remastered the game with new controls that works very well and probably better than Croc 2. And I've played Croc 2 and I was playing Croc 1. I was hoping they put the controls from Croc 1 to Croc 2 if they're going to remaster that game. But has new visuals, updated controls. Not much has really changed in terms of what you do in the game itself, but it's back. It used to be lost media, and if it wasn't for any kind soul to take that game and archive the PC build of it, I would have never played it all those years after until Argonaut remastered the game, right? So that's the lost media of games. We are continuously losing games, whether you realize it or not. There are a lot of games from the past that I wish could be put up into a server in a museum so that anybody can go in it legally and probably rent it or actually buy the rights to be able to play the game. Or if you wanted a physical copy, they can like burn it on a disc or something, or whatever it's supposed to be on compared to like the system it's supposed to be on. Like if it's a PC or anything like that, most likely it will be digital and you're going to be downloading it anyway. Point is, video games are being phased out when they get too old, and that's an unfortunate truth. And Stop Killing Games is that initiative to stop that from actually happening. That's the layman's terms on it. Pirate Software, when he looked at this initiative, he saw something else, and he thinks that it's not going to be good for the development side. Of course, the consumers are going to get all the advantages is what he's looking at, but when it comes to the development side, he's thinking that's not good for us. I mean, just listen to this real quick.
This video came out right as we were building momentum. Then, except for one boost in Germany, the signatures started drying up like clockwork. Thor does not understand what Stop Killing Games is. Here it is in his words.
So for those who don't understand, the Stop Killing Games initiatives is basically, we don't want single-player games to have DRM that the developers can turn off and thus render the single-player games inactive anymore. This is what they want to change. They need to be specific that they're talking about single-player games that do not need a server to support them. And as much as they want it to be about specifically games where it is a single-player game that has always online functionality, it would impact every live service game that exists, instead of just targeting single-player, always online games.
No, that's not what it is. Stop Killing Games includes single-player games, but nothing about it is specific to them. He completely made that up, and I have no idea where he got that impression. It's the first line on the website. Stop Killing Games is a consumer movement started to challenge the legality of publishers destroying video games they have sold to customers. But the movement includes all this stuff from earlier, and he was mostly talking about the initiative.
He didn't even get the Cliff Notes summary right.
Now, I'm not sure if Pirate Software is seeing what our guy is looking at, because definitely our guy is not seeing what Pirate Software is. Now, give me 1 second. Okay, so we're on the page now, and I wanted to go over this so that there's no confusion as to what we understand, and that we're looking at this at a fair view. Well, we're going to read the same thing that Pirate Software read and see what Accursed Farm is actually saying here when he posted this petition. Stop Killing Games is a consumer movement started to challenge the legality of publishers destroying video games they have sold to customers. An increasing number of video games are sold effectively as goods with no stated expiration date, but designed to be completely unplayable as soon as support for the publisher ends. This practice is a form of planned obsolescence, and is not only detrimental to customers, but makes preservation effectively impossible. Furthermore, the legality of this practice is largely untested in many countries, and that's very true. That whole entire line pretty much sums up exactly what's happening with video games. I don't know why companies don't want to try to preserve any of their past games that they've sold before. It kind of doesn't make sense to me, because if you do that, and perhaps somebody actually lost the game that they tried to find, maybe got lost in the garage, maybe got destroyed, but they have no way of getting that retro game back, they can't just go back to the publisher and rebuy the game. If I wanted to play a Rare game, right, and well, let's go back with Nintendo's Rare games, the only way I can play Donkey Kong Country is through their little subscription service. And I've tried to play Super Nintendo, the emulator on my Switch 2 when I didn't have internet. I was in the middle of a storm, we lost power, we had no internet, so I wanted to enjoy at least an hour to myself, and I wanted to play a classic game. But for some reason, whenever I tried to click on the Super Nintendo app, it was trying to verify through the internet whether or not I had the expansion pass, and I guess the expansion pass has the Super Nintendo pack in it. The problem with that is that it's connected to the internet, and what if somebody doesn't have the internet? How are they supposed to play classic Donkey Kong Country without the internet? And you know, one day Nintendo is going to stop that service. They're going to no longer support any of that expansion pass or anything to that nature because it's connected online. It's not really given to the player, it's a subscription service that they temporarily have. We're only buying a license. This is a lot more serious when you think of old games that you probably remember as a kid. I'm talking about the people who are my age at 30 or higher. Any kid who remembers like Battletoads, where are you going to play Battletoads? That isn't the new Battletoads that's out. You let me know and we can play together. But there are certain games that are retro, old, or at the very least PS1, PS2, that we can't play anymore. If you don't have the physical game here right now on the PlayStation 2 with the vintage PlayStation 2 that you're probably going to have to get on the internet or play it through an emulator, then, you know, by getting the games itself, well, that's why people make those types of things, which is, I'm going to have to say ROMs, right? They make ROMs of games because there's no other way of obtaining the game legally, let's just say. Now, I'm not going to say go out there and do it. Don't do it. I'm not advising anybody to go out and find ROMs of the game and going out to get the emulator. But Stop Killing Games wants to find a way to legally own video games, not just retro games, but modern games as well, that have been lost to time because their service is ended. And I think Pirate Software is not really understanding too much what Stop Killing Games is. I don't think he's looking at it on the side of preservation for the consumer. I think he's looking at it on the side of development and the process of developing the game and for the developer so that they can also live their life while creating the games that they want to create. That he wants, which is weird enough, because his name is Pirate Software, he doesn't want games to be pirated. I get that. I understand that. The irony of that name, though, that's blowing my mind. But I'm looking at this and, well, let's just continue on. Over the past year, we have successfully escalated complaints on this problem to consumer agencies in France, Germany, Australia, and have brought forth petitions for new law on this problem to various countries. A list of the actions taken to date can be viewed here. As of 2025, most consumer action on this matter have concluded, and we are we are awaiting decisions on it from several governments. However, there is a few remaining avenues left where people can participate if they are eligible. My apologies on that. My brain just got distracted there. It's the problem with having ADHD. Now, I'm not really too sure what Pirate Software is seeing. I just don't. I'm thinking, I really am, and I want to try to understand him. Going against him, right, and saying all these names and attacking him, don't do that. That's not going to help him. Don't call him stupid. Don't call him an idiot. Don't try to attack him or anyone close to him. That makes no sense. That just makes no sense. If you want to have fury that the government are kind of old and they don't understand gaming whatsoever, which is why they probably ignored something like this all the time. They don't care. Video games is just another electronic toy to them. But when it comes down to entertainment, video games is the highest form of entertainment. It's the biggest, most popular form of entertainment, and yet nobody really cares when one just goes and disappears into the wind because the publisher or the company is no longer servicing that one game. Now, I don't understand why he thinks, or Pirate Software thinks, that he wants, he wants Accursed Farm to take MMOs or live service games and turn them into one-player games with dedicated servers that needs to be on forever. That's not what he's asking for. We're trying to search for a form to kind of keep games alive. And, I mean, come on. Let's be honest here. If you create a video game that is only catered to live service, created around live service games, like it was made specifically to be free or have some sort of microtransactions in it, it's supposed to have monthly patches, or, you know, bi-monthly, or even like every 3 months you get a new patch or a new update for the game for like 10 more years. That's nobody's fault except for the people who planned that out. This is how MMOs start and then end, because the pressure of keeping up with those updates can destroy a game. Companies like Square Enix, Blizzard, and even I forgot what OSRS, old school RuneScapes, Jagex can do, because they have billions of dollars to keep up the servers, to keep up the popularity, to keep up the life of those live service games. And, you know, OSRS, I believe, technically, the genre or the title of RuneScape is the oldest out of all the examples that I've said. You know, Final Fantasy XIV, World of Warcraft, and Old School RuneScape. Old School RuneScape is based off of an older version of what RuneScape is supposed, or what it was back in the day. And I believe it's the better half of the 2 RuneScape games that are out right now. But, you know, I digress. The point is, live service games, if you ever shut off the servers, they'll be dead, right? Well, I've seen a World of Warcraft server stay alive for years, and it was just based on the classics, right? And after Blizzard shut that server down, they created classic World of Warcraft, right? It's a little odd, but we are now depending 100% on these companies to keep these games alive for as long as possible before they eventually get shut down. Like, miraculously, Final Fantasy XI is still alive today. And that game is older than World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy. Well, obviously it's the predecessor, but it's old. It's an old game. It came out in like 2001, I think. So like, if 14 ever went down, what are we supposed to do? Turn it into a one-player game? No, that's not what he's asking, Pirate Software. That's not what he's asking. I don't know how you interpreted that at all. It confuses me. What he's asking for is, like, any game should have some sort of sunset regulation, some sort of plan when the game ends in terms of its service, so that perhaps you can keep it alive in some form or fashion. It's a think tank. It's a mind process. They want to think about it. They want people to think about it. How do we solve this issue of live service games getting shut down by companies and other places with it not playable anymore? How about just regular games that are not live service? You know, some games shouldn't be just taken away forever, like Mario 99. Was it Mario 35? I think it's Mario 35. Sorry, Mario 35. It's because it's kind of the same genre there, the Tetris 99 and the Mario 35, but I digress here again. Mario 35 was shut down forever by Nintendo because it was supposed to celebrate the 35th year of Super Mario. But they decided to have that be a limited time play before they just take it away forever. The game was fun. People were playing it. I'm sure millions of people were playing that game because it was basically a 2D battle royale of you playing the classic Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers, and you're trying to get the end as Mario and beat it first. I don't understand why Nintendo took it away, but it's that example that I like to use when it comes to games just being killed out of nowhere. I know a lot of people are using the example of The Crew, and I know whoever's behind The Crew, I believe it's Ubisoft, who are getting sued. They're getting sued like left and right with all types of things, man. It's like, it's really crazy. But people like to use that as an example of a game that has been killed. The server and live service was shut down, and nobody can play the game anymore because it needs to be online in order for you to play it. And yeah, sure, a one-player mode would be great, but just some sort of preservation for that game would help. I know asking for the codes to keep it active on the citizen side or the consumer side, you know, consumers are clever too. They could, you know, rent out a server and say, hey, let's play this, and, you know, get a bunch of friends to start playing it. And there has been a bunch of people preserving games in that fashion, creating servers for people to come in, like that World of Warcraft example. That was a great idea and very kind of that person to make a server for people who just wanted to play classic WoW. And in this case, Pirate Software, I mean, I think he understands those notions. I think he understands those people that did that, and I'm pretty sure he appreciates that. But the problem here is that he doesn't seem to see that is what Stop Killing Games wants: the preservation of games, not to give consumers some sort of high advantage so that they can get the codes and start selling it themselves. No, they just want to play video games. They just want to play video games. They want to be able to play the old classics or any of the live service games that they became attached to and that are shut down. That is what I'm getting from just two paragraphs Sorry, not sentences. That was wrong. 2 paragraphs from Stop Killing Games here. I mean, there's a European Citizens Initiative, right? Let's go back here, right? And I'm going to post the link in the description, by the way, so anybody who's European, and only European, if you're not from Europe or the EU, you can't sign this petition, unfortunately, but the European Citizens Initiative is the most powerful option at our disposal. But it requires a massive number of signatures from citizens of EU countries in order to pass. If we could pass the signature threshold, there is a very strong chance that the European Commission will pass new law, I think it's new laws, that will both protect consumer rights to retain video games that they have purchased and advance preservation efforts massively. I would love to see the preservation part quite extensively, because I really do miss some old games. Like, I wasn't able to play Banjo-Kazooie until Nintendo was nice enough to work with Microsoft, because they got Banjo in Smash, in Super Smash Brothers. So they're like, you know what, let's throw them a bone. We're gonna put Banjo-Kazooie into the N64 emulation that they have on the Switch. That app that they have, it's in there. I've been playing Banjo-Kazooie. I was also playing Banjo-Tooie. Recently, 100%ed Banjo-Tooie. I hate the last boss, and I didn't realize I hated it. But looking at this, he's come in contact with government officials. There's the sign-in for the UK petition. There's a guide contacting the UFCQ. Like, he's done all the right things, and for sure there is some vagueness to the speech here, but it's not like the guy who created this, Accursed Farms, is some sort of politician and has all the lines that he really needs. No, this is just a start, right? Any law that is to be created by this, right, there's going to be some yes, there's going to be some no's, there's going to be some agreements, there's going to be disagreements. That's the reason why petitions are put out there. If every petition was put into law, it wouldn't make any sense. So we need people who practice law to look at petitions and to see, like, what can we do to acknowledge this, to see to that, to make this so that people who are petitioning this will get the justifiable results, right? I mean, not everything is 100%. They're not going to get everything. Petitions are like that all the time. So when new laws come in, it's not going to be exactly to the benefit to the people who wanted it, but they will try to get it to that point. And I'm talking, experience from the United States where, citizens can get effed over even though they put in a petition for something. But I digress again. I've been doing a lot of that. I'm sorry about that. These remaining options unfortunately exclude citizens from other countries from participating directly, while all other options we have found are either exhausted or already underway. Now, I'm going to also post the first video for Stop Killing Games. I'm going to post the current video from Accursed Farms on about Stop Killing Games and why he thinks Thor basically ruined this whole entire thing. And before he made that video again, this was under 500k, and now it's shot up over 500k. It's reaching 600k, and I believe it's going to reach 600k, obviously, but the deadline is close. Let's just say that. The deadline is like the end of July. I think it's like the 27th of July, I believe. Not 100% sure on that, but it's close. It's the end of July. And if this does not reach 100%, we're only 59% there, it's not likely that this petition will come to fruition. We'll basically be where we are right now, where if you want to play some modern games or old retro games or live service games that are not preserved whatsoever, well, we're SOL. Well, we might as well play that new game that they've created and spend more money on that rather than spending money or at least playing the old games that we could have played. Like, it boggles the mind why companies don't get their old IPs, right, and just resell it. Of course, there's been a lot of remastering going on around here, And wow, saying that, honestly, I'm thinking about Disney and how they do live action remasters of all their movies and they all suck. But we're talking about video games here. There's already been a Spyro remaster on the trilogy. That was amazing. Crash Bandicoot had a remaster. That was amazing. And you can play the classic games, I believe, on the Sony store somewhere. I want to believe that's the case. I really don't have the time or case of just turning on my PlayStation and figuring that out. But the trilogies for those two popular games are out because of remasters. And that's because the games was kind of lost to history. There was no other way to buy it except through maybe Sony's store if they had it available. If they had it available, Beyond that, like what if live service games actually shut down? Like what if Final Fantasy 14 shut down? Right? They're not going to turn that into a single player. No, that doesn't make any sense. What I would imagine is that if the codes were handed over to people like consumers who are really smart about it and can create servers for their friends or host gigantic servers that could fill up thousands of people, well then Final Fantasy 14 would essentially be alive. However, the thought process for Pirate Nation is I think people would take advantage of that and would try to abscond money from people, even though it's not their property. It's not what they created. They're basically using the game to make money by having these servers open. And honestly, I mean, it's not like that kind of practice isn't being used today. I mean, Minecraft servers, there are people in places where you need to pay to get in those servers. So it's like they have to maintain the servers in some way. And maybe that's not entirely what he's talking about. Maybe I'm misunderstanding what Pirate Nation is talking about. But what I understand, and from the look, from an observation point as an outsider, I think he's confused with a lot of things. I think he's misunderstanding a lot of things. They even tried to talk, honestly, but Pirate Software went ahead and started saying this garbage.
Oh shit, now this is actually really dumb. It's used car salesman garbage. This is shit. It's shit. Not only do I not want to back this, I'm going to actively tell people not to. That is awful. That is a horrible goddamn direction. That's awful, dude. No, eat my entire ass. The level of stupid that I just had to receive was like sitting on Twitter for 12 hours. This shit sucks. That's a really stupid ass move. That's an incredibly stupid ass move. I think this is ass. This is complete garbage. All of this can eat shit then. I drop the mask entirely. I have no qualms about that. They can eat my entire ass. The whole thing. That sounds stupid as shit.
Oh, yeah. I can see why people like him.
How messed up do you have to be to start talking a ton of shit about a guy who just wants to talk to you and have you understand where he's coming from? But instead, on your stream, you're besmirching him, you're saying, no, this is garbage, and that you want to intently tell people not to go out and sign this petition. You say yourself that you're not going to sign it. Whatever, that's fair, that's fine. But you out there saying like, no, I'm going to go against this, and I don't want anybody signing it anyway. And I mean, come on, man. Like, at the very least, try to see it from that person's point of view. He tried to talk to you, and you decided to besmirch him and just say some rude shit. That's kind of messed up, man. And I know you're an intelligent person. You create video games, and being able to do that means that you have intellect. You're a smart person. I wish I could do something like that, but I don't think you're right at this point, Pirate Nation. I really don't. And you can call me a person who's not within the field of video games. You can say that, oh, I didn't finish my degree. I'm taking a break from school. But at the very least, as a consumer, this would look like a benefit for people, even for developers. Like, they can archive the game, keep that game alive in some form or fashion. Doesn't have to be live service. It could be any game, like I said. Keep it alive in some form or fashion. Like, you know how the story they created old school RuneScape? Some guy found like a hard drive or some sort of USB in a desk that had a snapshot of RuneScape 2 somewhere. Something like that. Something like that. They restarted RuneScape in the old school fashion with Classic in there because of that hard drive or flash drive or whatever. They basically preserved the game to be used later. Isn't that incredible? Isn't that amazing? Isn't that something that we want? All of us want, including developers, not just consumers? Do you think that consumers are going to go out there and make servers just to make money off of it? I mean, hell, if they do, and they're making money off of those servers, I mean, kinda don't blame them. Servers cost money, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, and it doesn't have to be just that, the way they make money. It could be all types of illegal things that they could be doing to take advantage of, like the free code that they are given, or the free source code out there. There's a whole bunch of technicalities and can be very complicated, all right? And I'm getting a little tongue twisted just saying it. I don't know whether or not this is going to end in the best fashion here. I don't know if we're going to be well off with Stop Killing Games succeeding. I don't know. I really don't know, but I do want them to succeed here. And if you guys are willing and are in the EU, go ahead. I will put this link in the description and you'll be able to sign it. It's honestly disappointing to see that a game developer is so vehemently against something like this that, and it's quite clear what he's trying to say. I just don't understand why he doesn't want to at least try to understand it, right? Even if he disagrees with it, he's not trying to understand it. And when Accursed Farms tries to reach out to explain himself, it's Pirate Nation knows better. I can't imagine like how much worse things are going to get if companies who make video games just keep taking advantage of consumers like this. It boggles the mind, you know? But that's all I want to say. Share what you think in the descriptions down below. Again, this is me making a video every single day until I get a job. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one. And seriously, if you're in the EU, please look at the petition and make the judgment before you sign if you agree or disagree. I'm not going to tell you to go and sign. I'm going to say at least take a look at it. Again, have a good one.